Music hold ended.
Hello, my name is Brendan Blake, and I'm the AARP Arizona Advocacy Director. Thank you for joining our Tele Town Hall today to talk about holiday scams. Today, you'll hear from Kris Mayes, Attorney General for Arizona. In just a moment, you'll be able to ask our guests questions about holiday scams and how to help protect yourself and your family during this holiday season. So start thinking of your questions now. You may also want to grab a pen and paper to take some notes. By the end of today's call, you should know more about how to help protect yourself from holiday scams and fraud. And we will also share some resources on where you can get more information and assistance if you need it. Before we start, I would like to share that AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan social mission organization, and that we're in your corner fighting on issues that matter to you and your family. The AARP Fraud Watch Network is a nationwide effort to arm people with the tools they need to spot and avoid scams. If you've participated in one of our Teletown Halls before, you know that they're like a call-in radio show where you can have the opportunity to ask your questions to our guests live about cybersecurity. If you would like to make a comment or ask a question, press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guest. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest for today's call. Today, we are joined by Attorney General for Arizona, Kris Mayes. Thank you for joining us, AG Mayes. Take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here this morning. Protecting consumers from fraud is one of the core functions of the Attorney General's office, and I'm so happy to be here today to talk about ways that we can all protect ourselves from scammers during the holiday season. Remember that prevention is the best way to protect yourself from being defrauded or scammed. So thank you for allowing me to join you here today to share some tips on how to protect yourselves, not only during the holidays, but all year long.
Yeah, the holidays are, in fact, a great time for togetherness, celebration, and giving. And you're right, AG Mayes. Unfortunately, scammers take advantage of the season to give gifts to themselves, using your money to pay for it. And in fact, an AARP study shows that the entire gift-giving process, from purchasing the perfect gift to making sure it gets to the recipient, offers a number of opportunities for scammers to get in on the act for their own benefit. And this may have gotten easier for crooks because online shopping has become the method of choice for many of us, myself included. But there are ways to shop safely online, and today's call, we're going to talk about some of those steps that you can take to stay ahead of Scrooge this year. For those of you who have just joined us, my name is Brendan Blake, and I'm the AARP Arizona Advocacy Director, and this is a live interactive call about holiday scams. If you'd like to ask a question at any time during this call, press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guest. So there are a lot of threats associated with online shopping and threats surrounding where you shop online and also how you shop online. Our survey showed that particularly vulnerability around how we shop, specifically how people plan to pay. AARP's survey found that nearly 70% of people plan to pay with a debit card. Choosing this form of payment can make you more susceptible to fraud losses. Debit cards deduct money directly from the account it's connected to. So if your card is compromised and the thief goes on a spending spree, the money is drained from your account, which is and your money. When you use a credit card, it's compromised, yes, but the thief isn't spending money from your account, rather from the credit your bank has provided. Both cards are governed by consumer protections, but there is a but. When your credit card is used fraudulently, the issuing credit company will absorb the losses. When your debit card is compromised, your money is gone until you report it, and the bank completes an investigation, which could take several weeks. If you're relying on that account to pay your rent or mortgage, that can delay and put you in a real bind. If you fail to report fraud within 60 days, you may not be able to recover your losses at all. And this goes for shopping in person as well. A credit card is the safest choice. Now, again, if you've just joined us, I'm Brendan Blake with AARP Arizona, and this is a live Teletown Hall being brought to you by AARP to talk about scams to watch out for the holiday. And our expert guest today is Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes. So, AG Mayes, gift cards are an incredibly popular gift these days. How do scammers target gift cards?
Brendan, those big gift card racks are ubiquitous. We often see them in stores. But thieves can secretly scan the numbers off of the cards there. They have a way to monitor those cards, and as soon as a card is purchased and activated, the scammers drain the funds from them. By the time the person who receives the actual card tries to use it, the money is long gone. That's one reason that we suggest buying gift cards online directly from the retailer.
That's a great tip. Thank you for that, Attorney General Mayes. We have certainly seen a number of that. As a matter of fact, there's a story, I believe it was 3TV that did one recently on that within the last year. So I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you, if you've just joined our call and you want to ask a question to the Attorney General, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guests. So I wanted to ask a follow-up question to Attorney General Mayes. How else can scammers use gift cards?
Well, they will often urge their targets to pay some made-up debt by purchasing a gift card. Scammers use this tactic year-round, but it often heats up over the holidays. And here's how it works. You get a call from someone claiming to be a government agency like the Social Security Administration. They claim that your account has been suspended and that you need to pay a fee immediately to rectify the problem. They direct you to go to a nearby retailer, purchase gift cards in the amount that they claim you owe, and then they tell you to provide the card number and the PIN. So anytime someone demands payment by gift card, it is a scam. And it's not the Social Security Administration. It's not the IRS. It's not law enforcement. Hang up and report the scam attempt at reportfraud.ftc.gov. You can also report it to my office at www.azag.gov/consumer. That's azag.gov/consumer.
Thank you, Attorney General Mayes, and thank you for your team that works very hard on that. I know that you all do a great job tracking some of those down, so thank you. Now we'd like to take some opportunities to get some questions from you. And again, just as another reminder, if you'd like to ask a question of our guest about how to protect yourself or your family during this holiday season, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guest. So let's go to Alex. Please, Alex, do we have some questions for us?
Thank you, Brendan, and it's always a pleasure to talk to Attorney General Mayes. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have some questions on the queue, so we're going to start. First of all, we are going to go to Peoria, and we have Betty on the phone. Betty, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Now is the time for all the Medicare recipients, to either change their plan or go to another plan. Well, there seems to be so much advertisement on this that you don't even know if it's really the people that the plan is from or if it's not. But what I do understand is when you try to find out about different plans, they put you on a list and sell your information. How can we stop stuff like that? Because all we're interested in doing as elderly people, and I'm 87 years old, but I really do try to be careful about what I do. I just don't answer anybody on the phone if I don't know them.
Yeah, Betty. That's a great question, and I think that you're very smart to be hesitant in talking to folks who call you unsolicited on the phone. First of all, I would have to, and certainly am willing to go back and talk to our consumer fraud section about this question of data being resold. I'd be surprised if Medicare was doing that themselves, and there may be a private entity that's engaged in that. And that's something that my office has become very concerned about and is working on. We think that data privacy is very important. We think it's unfair for companies to be selling your data and selling your information without your knowledge and without your prior approval. And we've seen this in a number of different areas in sort of e-commerce. And under different circumstances and given, depending on the facts, it could be a violation of our Consumer Fraud Act in Arizona that prevents unfair or deceptive practices. So if you've got something like that, please feel free to send in a complaint to us. You can go to our website, as I mentioned, at azag.gov/consumer, or you can also call us at 602-542-5763.
Attorney General Mayes, could you repeat that number one more time for our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. So the phone number is 602-542-5763. If you have a question for us, or you think you may have been scammed, or you think that your data may be being resold without your permission, please let us know about that. You can also go to azag.gov/consumer.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Betty, for the question. Now we're going to go to Tucson. In Tucson, we have Kris. Kris, can you hear us?
So I got two emails this morning, one from McAfee wanting me to give them $299, saying my order was confirmed. We don't even use them. I never opened it up. And the other one was from a Richard Chowder at PayPal that was trying to take $800 out of my PayPal account from something at BTC. What do I do with these? Do I call the numbers that are listed there and yell at them and call them names, or what?
Well, Kris, first of all, you did the right thing by not engaging with those emails because, as you guessed probably correctly, they are phishing. They're trying to either fish for your information or maybe even fish for your money. It sounds like they're trying to get at your wallet there, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we want to try to prevent, and why we're doing this Tele Town Hall today. So if you get something like that and you don't do business with that company and you have no idea why they're emailing you, it's best to not respond to it at all. And you can always send that to us or provide that information to us by going to azag.gov/consumer. Or call 602-542-5763 and provide a complaint so that we can follow up on it. But that's exactly the kind of thing that we are seeing proliferate out there on the internet, and those kinds of attempts. And unfortunately, people will fall for that, and so we're doing our darndest to try to educate the public, not to do what you did, which is to not respond.
Thank you so much for the question, Kris. And Brendan, we are going to come back to the questions. I'm going to turn it back to you for a couple of other questions that you may have for Attorney General Mayes.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And I just want to make a reminder to everybody, if you'd like to ask a question of Attorney General Mayes about a holiday scam, or as we've kind of gotten into a few other things as well, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member. They will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be able to ask a question to our guest. So, Attorney General Mayes, I'd like to bring us back, we talked a little bit earlier about the dangers about how we pay for things online, but you also mentioned that there are dangers around where we shop online. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
You bet, Brendan. Well, a recent AARP survey on holiday scams found that 35% of U.S. adults have experienced fraud when buying a product through an online ad. One of the most obvious signs that something may be a scam is when you see a deal, whether in an online ad, an email, a social media post, even if it comes from someone in your friend group that just seems impossibly good. If the deal just seems too good to be true, think twice about making the online purchase. You may end up getting nothing at all for your money, or you may receive an inferior item instead, plus your payment information could be compromised during the transaction. So if you think a deal is too good to be true, go to the retailer's actual website and look for it there. And if you can't find it, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah, thank you, Attorney General Mayes. We appreciate that. And again, I'd like to go ahead and remind you all that if you have a question, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to get contacted with an AARP staff member. They'll note your name and your question and place you in the queue. So that way, the sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guest. Alex, why don't we go ahead and go back to some of our caller questions?
Absolutely, Brendan. This time we are going to go to Goodyear. In Goodyear, we have Judith. Judith, can you hear us?
Okay, thank you for caring about us as seniors specifically. I have a house phone, and I frequently get calls that I consider as scams from other parts of the country. Where do they get my phone number since we don't get phone books anymore?
Hi, Judith. Thank you so much for that call and that question. That is a great question, and we're seeing so much of that where we're folks who are, essentially getting phone numbers from lists that get passed around or from online. They sometimes purchase lists. Despite do not call registries, we see people calling even sometimes if a person has registered on a do not call registry, in which we go after those entities and companies whenever we can. But you're doing exactly the right thing, which is to be really vigilant about that. And, if it's somebody that, you don't know who they are, be very careful about picking up the phone. Certainly be careful about engaging with anybody. And we are really working hard. These calls are coming in from all across the country, sometimes outside of the country even. And it's just becoming a huge problem despite efforts to put an end to it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the question there. And AG Mayes, we're being asked if we could please repeat the telephone numbers and the website a couple more times so people can write them down.
You bet. Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to www.az.gov/consumer. CONSUMER, or you can call us and you can provide a complaint or provide us information about a scam that you think you've seen at 602-542-5763. That's 602-542-5763. We have some amazing people down in our consumer complaints unit answering the phones. They've got a lot of information. I actually personally went down and answered calls myself recently and sat with some of our consumer complaints folks. And so please do let us know. And it's really important because we use your phone calls and your information as sort of an early alert system for frauds and scams that then we can go and try to prosecute and put an end to. So this is, we can help you hopefully individually if you've lost money, but we also can go after the larger schemes and the more systematic schemes when we start to see trends in the form of folks who are calling in to let us know about things.
Great. Thank you for repeating the number and the website. Thank you so much. And now we're going to go to Sun City. In Sun City, we have Eleanor. Eleanor, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. My question is in regard to moving companies. I need to move across country, and I've been calling different numbers for moving companies, and I've been getting quotes. Say, for instance, if I get a quote for $3,000 to move me across country, and they require a $1,000 deposit right then in order to hold that reservation for me. How is there a chance that I would get that refunded back to me if I decide not to go with that particular company? They say yes, but then when you read through the fine print, they have all these little deductions that come out of that amount.
Eleanor, that's a really great question, and I think you should be wary of any company that asks for that kind of a deposit. I think the best thing is to check out reviews of these companies and also to shop around. You can check with the Better Business Bureau, the BBB. If you have not already provided money to the company, then check with BBB to see if they have any complaints on them. You can go to BBB online. So check out reviews of this company, check out BBB complaints. I'll get you the BBB site in a second here. But be very wary. We are seeing a lot. It's bbb.org, O-R-G. We're seeing a rise of scams among moving companies. One of the things that we're also noticing and we've been working on is some moving companies are holding loads hostage.
Yes.
So they will take your stuff and then basically try to get you to provide a ransom, essentially, to get your stuff unloaded at the back end. So we want you to avoid those kinds of companies.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Eleanor.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Eleanor, for the call. Now we're going to move to Kingman, and in Kingman we have Greg.
Attorney General, my questions are: years ago, it used to be against people to do random unsolicited phone calls to people in advertising, and then it seemed to have gone away, and it's only got proliferated across the nation. In fact, people are being inundated with the robocalls constantly, day in, day out. They have a whole bank. They have a whole list of phone numbers they buy. They use those phone numbers. If you block them, which I've got 125 blocked calls on my phone, then once you exceed that, I have to start all over again. And they just go to number to number to number. And I was wondering is there any national interest from the government to put a halt to these unsolicited calls, your phone number going out there to everybody and anybody? You may call somebody legitimate. You may give them your number and your interest in what they do and don't do, but then they end up selling your number to another group of people, and then before you know it, you got 5 people of the same product or service that's now end up calling you. Solar panels is one of them. The solar panel industry, and this discount, but anyway, we're getting just fed up with this. I'll tell you, it's just getting to be every day, day in, day out. Your phones are ringing. You think it's a friend. It's not a friend. It's somebody on a robocall. And I sure like to see some legislation that's going to work and stick and go after these people and prevent this from happening in the first place, so they don't get in network and scam millions of people out of money. And a lot of older people are getting scammed and losing a lot of money.
Yeah, Greg, thank you so much for that call. I totally agree with you. And I am a part of a national anti-robocall task force that with other attorneys general across the country. And you're right, it has become just completely out of control. And I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, and I would encourage people to get on the do not call list Obviously, people, these scam artists are finding a way around that. They continue to call despite the do not call list. But it does allow us to prosecute them when we find them. And we have been doing that, but it's just sort of a game of whack-a-mole in some ways. They just keep popping up, and you're right. It's our senior community that is the most targeted by these scam artists. They know folks our senior community is more likely to be at home. Obviously, the senior community tends to be retired, not in all cases. And my own mom lives in Prescott. She's retired in Prescott, and sometimes when I'm home with her, I hear it. She's getting the same phone calls you are. So we are working on that task force. We're looking at ways. Yes, I agree with you. I think Congress should take this up. There are ways that I think Congress could act. I will tell you the AGs are on it and are looking at ways that we can act. So, for instance, on May 23rd, we sued a telecommunications company and its owner for allegedly initiating and facilitating 7.5 billion illegal robocalls to millions of people on the Do Not Call registry. That was between December 2018 and January 2023. That was a company called Avid Telecom. So we're going to sue these companies, but we need Congress to act in a more comprehensive way.
Thank you so much for your call, Greg. We appreciate it. And then I'm going to turn it back to you, and then we'll come back for a couple more.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. And I just want to make a quick reminder for everybody again. If you would like to ask a question to the Attorney General on scams or fraud, please press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. And just before we get to the other question that I have, Attorney General Mayes, I'll mention that that Congress has taken some action on this, but as you indicated, Attorney General Mayes, there's certainly a lot more work that we need to do on this, so that way we can stop people getting robocalled and prevent scams. So I want to get back to something that you mentioned earlier. We had talked a little bit about going to a retailer's website as sort of the most secure option rather than buying through a third party. Are there certain websites that shoppers should avoid?
Well, Brendan, the safest place to shop online is generally going to be with retailers you've purchased from before or well-known to you brands. But what happens when they don't have that what happens when they don't have that must-have item on their website? Well, doing an internet search can land you on a malicious site from time to time. Scammers set up fake retail websites and often even clone well-known sites in an attempt to capture your payment information or even to download malicious software onto your device. So when you know something is hard to find, be extra cautious. Even if a friend on social media shares a link to an incredible deal, know that the friend's account may have been hacked. Scammers hack social media accounts and send out fake offers to the real account holders, family, and friends. So when in doubt, contact the friend in another way to let them know their account may have been compromised. And usually they can end the takeover by changing their account password.
Yeah, thank you for that, Attorney General Mayes. And the other thing, too, is it's like you indicated, it is always easier to just pick up the phone and call the person, whether it's on one of these kinds of scams that you see on social media, or if you get a call from a loved one saying that they're in help and that they need money right now, just picking up the phone and calling your loved one to verify that on the number that you know is one of the easiest ways to avoid being scammed. So thank you, Attorney General Mayes. I appreciate the answer. We're going to pass it back to Alex, who will take up some of our questions again.
Absolutely, Brendan. We have 3 more questions on the queue right now. We're going to go to Glendale, and in Glendale we have Joyce. Joyce, go ahead with your question.
Yes, Attorney General, I get donation calls constantly. I wonder if there is a way of knowing that the caller on the line is actually from that organization, and how safe is it?
That is such a good question, and we see that a lot as well. We recently saw a situation in which a fake firefighter organization was asking for donations, and it was very convincing. I saw some of the information about it, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's a pretty good fake, but it was fake. So I think the best ethics, so, you pointed out just another huge problem that we're facing. I think the best way to go about it is to do some, don't give money right away. I think, and if somebody is trying to give you the full court press and really trying to pressure you into giving information right there in the moment, it's probably a red flag. I would get their organization name, their phone number, hang up the phone, do research on it. You can call BBB probably for that as well, or our office, and you can look them up online, and then call them back after you've done that research. Because if they don't answer after you've called back, then it's probably a scam. So I think your point is a really, really good one. Be really careful with charities that are calling you on the phone, and especially charities that are really putting putting extreme pressure on you to donate over the phone. You just want to be careful about that. Be careful about giving out your credit card information over the phone to really anyone before you've done research.
Great question, Joyce. Thank you so much for joining us. This time, AG Mayes, we're going to go to Avondale. In Avondale, we have Michelle.
Chiming in along with these calls that we get. I'm constantly getting calls with people wanting to know if I want to sell my home, the auto warranty calls, which I don't have a warranty that's about to expire. And they drive me crazy. Years ago, I signed up for a do not call list. How do we go about signing up for that kind of thing again?
We will get you that information. But Michelle, thank you for that call and for bringing up those scams. If you're getting a call about an auto warranty, it probably is a scam. We see a lot of that. We're seeing an increase in the number of calls about selling your home. That probably also is a scam. We're seeing deed fraud increasingly, where people will try to transfer title to your house by getting you on the phone and getting information from you, and even getting it in other ways. So it's a scary world out there, and those auto warranty calls, those home sale calls, unsolicited calls from folks are probably a scam, and we want you to avoid those and just hang up on those people once they identify what they're calling about. The do not call registry is called the National Do Not Call Registry. It's operated by the Federal Trade Commission. You can go on their website. It's donotcall.gov, G-O-V, and you'll see on the main screen report a tab that says, a green tab that says report unwanted calls, so you can report a call, a blue tab that says verify your registration, and a red tab that says register your phone. So you can go on there and register your phone, and if you've gotten one of these unsolicited calls, you can also report it to the FTC. And again, that's a way that we can get after these scammers and really start to collect information about them.
Excellent question. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that. Now we're going to be going to Holbrook, and in Holbrook we have Shirley.
Yes. What I wanted to ask is my friend, he has a cell phone, and I have a home phone, and we get so many calls. Is it better not to answer them at all? Do they get paid for answering when you answer it, or how does that work?
Well, that's so. Thank you so much for your call. It's a great question. I know this is a question that so many folks are asking of themselves, given the volume of unwanted calls. If it's somebody, if you get a call from somebody you don't know or you've never seen the number before, I don't think it's unreasonable to not pick up the phone. Maybe let them leave a voicemail. And if it's about something like an auto warranty where you don't have an auto warranty expiring, or it's about, somebody trying to buy your house from you, or, a charity you've never heard of, those kinds of things, you obviously don't call them back. But you can always let it go to voicemail, whether it's your cell phone or your home phone. But if you see a call come in and you're starting to see just a torrent of calls come in, it might be better not to answer it. And, certainly you're more likely to know the phone numbers of your friends and your family members. And so probably better to pick up those calls.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shirley, for that question. We appreciate it. I know that we have two callers still in the queue that are being screened at this point. So, Brendan, do we have any follow-up questions for AG Mayes?
Hey there. Yeah, I do have just one other follow-up question. Attorney General Mayes, you've reestablished the task force against senior abuse. Is there anything that you'd like to share publicly about some of the work that you and your teams are doing on the community outreach side and also on the other side of the task force that you think would be helpful information, or ways that people could help them track down some of those who are taking advantage of or financially exploiting older adults?
Yeah, thank you, Brennan, for that opportunity. We have reestablished the group called TASA, and we also have stood up a new elder abuse task force inside the Attorney General's office where we have hired an individual who is going to help us prosecute those who are engaging in elder abuse in Arizona. And we have a rise in elder abuse, whether it's financial elder abuse, those trying to take financial advantage of our elderly, or physical abuse. And I've made it clear that we aren't gonna put up with that, and we're gonna do everything that we can through the Attorney General's office to protect our seniors. I mean, I view this as one of my most important duties as Attorney General. And so, folks, if you want to find out more information about that effort, you can go to azag.gov/senior abuse. We also want to do a lot of outreach. So if you're interested in having a presentation from my office, you can go on that website and get more information and provide us information about an organization that you might be a part of that might want a presentation. Please reach out to my office, because we want to come out, and provide the kind of information that we're providing on this Tele Town Hall to folks, but also talk about physical elder abuse. We're just seeing more and more instances of physical elder abuse, and we're not gonna put up with it. We're gonna make it clear that if you abuse our elderly, you're going to pay a heavy price for it in the state of Arizona. So taking that very seriously. The other thing, Brendan, I wanted to talk about we're also seeing a rise of AI related voice clone scams. So that's and we're seeing a situation. I think someone brought it up earlier, where if somebody just gets a couple snippets of your voice, they can call you, a loved one of yours, or call you with your loved one's voice and make it sound like they're holding your loved ones hostage and ask you to pay for them to be let go. We've actually seen that happen in Arizona. And so AI is obviously can be a very powerful tool, but it can also be a powerful tool for ill. And we're asking people to, if you get one of those phone calls, ask that person to call you back, and to verify that it actually is the person that it claims to be. There are ways, and we have these ways on our website to avoid being scammed by.
Great tips, A.G. Mason. Absolutely. I think, as a matter of fact, with the AI being such a powerful tool, one thing that we have done in my family is that we have a passcode or a password or passphrase, I should call it, that we all know in the family. If that happens, we ask for that passcode or passphrase, and hopefully we'll be able to identify that. But great tips about AI. We have two additional calls. These will be the last two calls, and we're going to be going to Tucson. And in Tucson, we have Lynn. Lynn, can you hear us?
Yes. My question is, in order to screen calls or even to report calls when you receive them, you have to have some sort of caller ID. I have a landline. Caller ID is an additional expense, so I don't have it. What do I do?
That's a great, Lynn. That's a great conundrum. A very important point that you make. If you don't have the caller ID, then probably the only other answer would be to not. Well, you're either going to have to pick it up and try to quickly ascertain what the person wants. And then if you don't trust what they're about or who they are, then ask them to get a phone number and call them back, or not pick up the phone. Obviously, not picking up the phone is tough because you want to take calls from your family and friends. So I would say that if you don't have caller ID, then you're going to want to just be really vigilant and always call them back and try not to get engaged in a lengthy conversation with them.
Thank you so much again, Lynn, for that question. Now we're going to travel, and I apologize if I heard the name, Baptuli, Arizona.
Attorney General Kris Mayes, thank you very much for having this for us. I just wanted to go back to the first question, about the cards. Is it safer to buy them at the store than to order them online for the gift cards?
Actually, Mary, it's safer to buy them online at the actual retailer's online site, because sometimes what can happen if you buy them in the store, believe it or not, the scammers can scan the code on the back and then drain the card of the money before you even can give it to your loved one. So we think that it's safer actually to buy the gift card from the retailer directly if you can at their online site.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you so much, Mary, for your question.
As we near the end of our call, I just wanted to thank you for joining us today. If we didn't get to your questions or comments, I apologize. But Attorney General Mayes, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to leave us with?
Well, Brendan, I want to thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. I really want to thank everyone who called in from all throughout Arizona. I had folks from Holbrook and Tucson and Kingman and Phoenix and just everywhere. This is fantastic. And remember, wherever you are in Arizona, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I also want to say there is no shame in being scammed. It happens to lots of folks. And these fraudsters are sophisticated, and they can take advantage of anyone. They're using technology to do it increasingly. And so if you or someone you love has been scammed, don't be ashamed to report it to my office or other law enforcement. You can file a complaint with my office. Again, you can file that complaint by visiting www.azag.gov/consumer, or you can call us directly at 602-542-5763. That's 602-542-5763.
But thank you, Attorney General Mayes. And on behalf of AARP Arizona and the AARP Fraud Watch Network, thank you to everyone for taking part in today's call. As we close this conversation, I'd like to end you with this thought. Scam artists are out there looking for their next victims, but you have the power to protect yourself, and we've certainly given you a number of places to go to get some resources and some tips today. But if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. For the Fraud Watch Network, visit aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network. Again, that is aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network. And on our webpage, you can find tip sheets on a range of scams, including more of the topic of today's discussion, holiday scams. We also talked a lot about gift card scams, which you can certainly find on there as well. And if you want to report a scam to the AARP Fraud Watch Network, you can do so at our helpline at 1-877-908-3360. I hope you learned something new today about these holiday scams and the tips to protect yourself. We apologize if we were not able to answer your question directly. Thank you all for participating in this discussion on these important topics. Stay safe out there. Happy holidays. Thank you and goodbye.